Maybe just be clarified again as to the status of allowances and hazards on the hazard pay rather under Bayanihan 1. Ano na ba ang status ng releases ng hazard pay and special risk allowance sa Bayanihan 1? Has it been consumed? Ito ba ay na-disburse na?
Ano ba to?
For Bayanihan 1?
Yes. So, for the hazard pay, 58,003 regular employees have been paid. 28,345 job order employees have been paid for a total of 86,348 employees. And that amounts to 842 plus million. But there are still unpaid hazard pay, total of 16,764 have not received their hazard pay for the same reason.
And that's for Bayanihan 1?
That's Bayanihan 1, and the reason for it is for this one, Mr. President, the reason for this is there's no funding, no more funding. That is Bayanihan 1.
How again? I'm sure
I'll put the amount on record, Mr. President, to complete your the picture. 108,288,000.
Again, perhaps we have to figure out a way as to how to fund this. Bayanihan 1 yan. I assume this well, tapos na ho yung service nila pero hindi sila mababayaran at wala ng pondo para wala ng budget appropriations for it. So that would be outstanding obligations. And again, I understand that the good sponsor, the vice chairperson of the finance committee, would want these matters settled precisely because these are our frontliners and they continue to risk daily their lives as we combat this pandemic, this virus. The HRH deployment in 2021 is 16.58 billion, is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, it is correct, Mr. President.
Yes. Would this amount include the provision on special risk allowance and actual hazard duty pay, given that we are still in the pandemic next year? In other words, kasama ba itong recently enacted hazard pay allowance, special allowance?
Okay. No, Mr. President, this is the regular employment budget, and the special risk allowance was a Bayanihan intervention, Mr. President.
Yes, and that's why we will still have challenges with the pandemic in January 1 next year, but the special risk allowance will no longer be made available.
Ano ba yun? One time, once a year ba yun? Ano ba yun? It's a one-time amount, right? Huh? So meron pa? Pero valid pa ba yung Bayanihan 2? Yung effectivity ng Bayanihan 2, pwede pa? Ano? I don't get it. Paano mangyari for hiring at say tapos hanggang December 19? O kaya nga. So ano plano? Mr. President, they intend to request for additional budget for that.
Yes, because
in the third Bayanihan, Mr. President.
yes, because if I'm if I'm not mistaken, we did allocate 13.5 billion for this risk allowance, hazardous duty, hazard pay, special risk allowance in Bayanihan 2. Ito ba naubos na?
Yes.
Mauubos ba ito, yung 13.5 billion? Because I raised this because earlier we were discussing the possibility of extending or providing an extension to these funds.
Yes, of course, Mr. President, we recognize that we support the importance of the contributions and the daily lives, the lives of each and every health frontliner, Mr. President. And that's precisely why we included this in the Bayanihan one to show that that respect and support we'd like to give them.
Yes, and perhaps again before we approve on the measure, the GAA, we should be able to figure out how to address the funding for these remaining 100 plus million for our frontliners. Thank you for that clarification, Madam Chairperson.